Glory to God. Thank you, Brooks. Glory be to God. That was a very powerful worship. Let's appreciate Minister Bucci for that. That was powerful. Please clap and celebrate him. Oh, thank you. You are so anointed. You're so anointed. Amen. Do you remember him? Connect last year. Huh? Okay, see last year. Powerful. Powerful. Thank you, Pastor Bucci. We love you and your dear wife. Thank you for being here. Glory to God. So in the first service, I started the concept of the kingdom. Last week, we've been talking about DNA. And remember, we talked about the DNA of the Father. Do you remember? So we spoke so much about the Father. The DNA passing the paternity test, which was something we looked at very graciously. If you are not here because of the rain, so I think it's a good one to go and catch up. It's a very powerful revelation that will help you. You know, I always say something that you don't need to learn so much. You don't need to know everything. Just learn the things that will transform you. Ever learning, never coming to the knowledge of the truth. That's what the Bible calls it. You don't want to keep learning and learning and learning, but you want to be instructed, you want to be transformed, and you want to see the learning outcomes that you are getting engaged in. You know, so it's very vital that I like the fact that we are learners. So beyond just being a learner, ensure that this is converting into truth, which means that you are having encounters with the things that you are hearing, not just appreciating knowledge. If you just keep appreciating knowledge, it now begins to reveal the arrogance of knowledge to you. And once you become arrogant in knowledge, it's not going to bless you. You know, so please, this will help you. This morning we started the kingdom, the DNA of the kingdom. That when we say the kingdom of God, what is that about? Unfortunately, I won't be able to do a recap of first service. I will just move straight because we have limited time in this second service. Let me also appreciate Pastor Tokwe Magaji in him is life ministry. You're not clapping. I appreciate him. He's a very dear friend and brother. We go way back. Glory to God. Thank you for being here, sir. I mean, when somebody leaves and just come to stay with you on a Sunday morning, they must really love you, and we appreciate you. He's the former missions pastor for Harvesters, and we love you dearly. Thank you, sir. Glory be to God. So we talked about when they say kingdom, what is it about? Then I explained, I did an x-ray of the meaning of the kingdom, who is the kingdom, where the kingdom is. So just in a statement, the kingdom is Christ. When you get born again, you receive the kingdom. So where you go, the kingdom goes. Where you operate is where the kingdom operates. Whatever you do is what the kingdom is doing. So that's the only way I can explain first service. And we talked about some concept around the kingdom. So we ended with the concept of prayer. That prayer is not a religious exercise. Prayer is a word, it's an English word used in academia, used in other places. Every time you gather research together and you have strong points and you sign it into a bill, it becomes a prayer. In government, when they sign a bill, it becomes a prayer. So it's not a spiritual word. It's not a religious word. It's just a normal English word that means petition. So when you pray, it is you writing petition to another kingdom. You are writing to the kingdom of God saying, these are the things that were promised as an ambassador before I was deployed here. I am seeing gaps. I'm not, as an ambassador here, I'm not being fed well. I'm not being treated well. My immunity is being questioned. And your home country will have to provide those things for you. So we talked about that. So prayer is a legal act towards a direction. It's not necessarily because you shout or anything. It's just because of the strong points that you have. So when you appear in the courtroom, it's not how much you shout that they determine who wins the case. It's not how much you beg the judge that determines who wins the case. It is how much you are able to have strong point and you can convince. And we saw that in Hebrews 4:16. So we looked at the concept of prayer as regards the kingdom. In this second service, we look at the kingdom concept of culture and the kingdom concept of worship or giving. So when you got born again, what you did, what happened to you, was that you came into a family and you became a citizen of a kingdom. So the day you received Jesus, you received the kingdom. So when you received the kingdom, it means that you became a citizen of the kingdom. So the day you were born into Nigeria and you began to grow up in Nigeria, it simply means that you are a citizen of Nigeria. Is that correct? Is that correct? Now the church talks about membership. The kingdom talks about citizenship. They are two different things. Church needs members. The kingdom is not looking for members. The kingdom is looking for citizens. So you got it. So even if you spent just 4 years in Nigeria and you went to live in the UK, you grew up in the UK after your first 4 years, at best, you have dual citizenship. It means that you were born into Nigeria, you were assembled in the UK. So you have two passports. So, Nigerian passport, the British passport. Born here, assembled here. Born here, assembled here. Born here, assembled here. And you can be assembled anywhere. God can lead you through trainings on where you are going to be assembled. So, even every Christian is got dual citizenship. What does that mean? I came from heaven, so I'm a citizen of heaven. I am on earth, so I'm also a citizen here. So I have dual citizenship. Glory to God. Does that make sense? So that means that I am terrestrial, and I'm also celestial. Not the church. See, you function here on the earth, you function in heaven. So it means that you are in between a dimensional reality. So that's why you can be praying and you just feel the presence of God hits you. So you can see that that's an invasion beyond the earth. So there's dual citizenship. So I want to talk a lot about that citizenship. And citizenship I'm talking about is not a promise. It's already a reality, particularly if you're born again. So it's not something that you are looking forward to say. So I'm not trusting God to be a citizen of heaven. See, that means that there's a problem with understanding. How can I be trusting God to be a citizen of heaven? Where did I come from? Talk to me. Where did I come from? Where did you come from? Not Elisha. You were assembled in Elisha or assembled in Benue State. You came from heaven. If you came from there, you're already a citizen. So you've got your citizenship already. You know, I always tell you that those who go to heaven, those who are going to heaven, they know. Those who are not going to heaven, they also know. You know. If we start teaching about end time now, I see some people crying. You know, they are not sure where they are going to. If I change the message now to my brother and my sister, what shall it profit a man when he gains the whole world and he loses his own soul? And behold, he shows me, Revelation 22 verse 12. I come quickly, and my reward, and you begin to cry. That means you are doubting. Then it means that person needs to repent. Citizenship. So we want to talk about the kingdom concept of culture. Then we'll also talk about the concept of worship. Just like we explained prayers. We are in a battle. Now, so we came from heaven. We came on earth. Now, remember the teaching last year, September, that I did for about 8 weeks. The devil is the owner of the earth. Do you remember? The devil is the legal owner of the earth. He's called the prince of this world. So as far as he is the owner of the earth, you would see that the things that operate, that generates result, naturally will be things that affirm with Babylonian concept. That if you belong to Babylon, it's easier for you to rise on the earth. And we've taught that. Very clear. Now you came as a Christian. Where you are coming from, you are a group of people. Then they sent you here on the earth. Don't forget that where you are coming from, you have a culture. Are we together? There's a culture from where you are coming from. Now you landed the earth. When you landed the earth, you are shocked. Because you thought that the culture of where you are coming from is the same culture you are going to meet on the earth. Then suddenly you are shocked that there's another culture on the earth. And the culture that is on the earth is strong. It's powerful. It's overwhelming. So for example, where you are coming from says that be holy. That's your home country. Now, you are not living in your home country now. You've been deployed as an ambassador. And as an ambassador, you are in the world like every other person. Now you meet other culture that does not even talk about holiness, and you are telling you, and it looks like, am I going to blend? Am I going to say, no, what they are doing is wrong? What am I going to do about it? And my flesh begins to speak to me and say, no, come into this culture. We are on daily basis in a battle of culture. On daily basis, the battle of kingdoms. And the faster you understand it, the better it is. That is a culture clash between the kingdom of God and the kingdom of darkness. How are we going to deal as God's people? Wow. Now, so when you say culture, you are talking about a set of shared attitudes, beliefs, standards, and the things that brings people together. Now, let's first talk about the culture of where we come from. Then I'm able to tie it to where I'm going to. What is the culture of this kingdom? What is the kingdom culture? So, if you get to Benue State, they have a culture. If you meet the guys that are from Teeth, you will see the culture. If you go to the West in Nigeria, you will see the culture. So, for example, a Yoruba person who walks in here to show a sign of respect, to me, will probably want to bow to greet or prostrate to greet. It's culture, not necessarily respect. I'm somebody who is from the East, who loves me and genuinely respects me, does not understand why people should bow or why people should prostrate to greet. And he looks at me and he said, "Good morning, sir," from his heart. And he means it out of honor. So you find out that everybody's got their own beliefs. They have their ideas. So you hear this, how we do it in our place. That's how we do it in our place. So it means that even from heaven, we have a culture. Because when you become a citizen of a place, citizenship means that you have signed a constitution of culture. That's what it means. Glory to God. I said glory to God. You see, culture affects your mind and sets your mind. Affects how you behave, how you relate, the things that you do. Let me give you an example of manifestations of culture. Number one, let's talk about values. Values. Values are things that we protect, things that we preserve, and things that we pass to other people. There are things that we protect, we preserve, and we pass to other people. So, for example, in this kingdom, part of the values of the kingdom does not support same-sex marriage. I hope you believe that. Because I want to colonize you. Because the kingdom is a colony on its own. It does not value, our value does not support same-sex marriage. I say, Pastor, we need to love everybody. Even gay guys, they are guys. Lesbians are guys. Yes, I love them. I've had private meetings with a lot of them. I love them. But guess what? We don't have the same culture. Because culture is something you must protect, preserve, and pass. I can pass that to my children. I can pass that. In the kingdom, divorce is not our values. We have our values. What are our values? What the Bible calls for, the closest to it is what the Bible calls the Beatitudes. He begins to explain to you in Matthew 5 the values of the kingdom. Blessed are these. Blessed are these. Blessed are these. In fact, the Beatitude means be attitudes. The attitudes that you must become. Values. So it means that our values cannot be the same with the world. It can't be. It's not saying, no, it can't be. We may be trying to penetrate the world with His good, but it cannot be the same. Number 2, your priorities. The priorities. The world will give priorities to hustling, will give priority to money. The world will give priority to wealth. The world will give priority to possession. Ladies and gentlemen, the kingdom does not give priority to those things. What the kingdom gives priority to things are soul winning. So if you are in this kingdom, wealth is good, money is good. I love money. I love wealth. I love possession, but that's not our priority. Matthew 6, 31 to 33. Can you give me that? Seek ye first the kingdom of God. Seek ye first. That's talking about priority. First. Then every other thing can be added onto it. Let's look at Matthew 6:31 very fast. So your priorities must be different. What do you hold dear? What do you hold as important? What I'm trying to do here is to get you to relax. To not be so preoccupied with getting so you can respond. Steep your life in God reality, God initiatives. Do you see that? God provisions. Don't worry about missing out. You are going to find... Can you put the Message version here? You would find all your everyday human concerns that they'll be met. Look at this. This is interesting. Steep your life in God reality, God initiative, God provisions. Don't worry about missing out. You will find all your everyday human concerns will be met. So it means that in the kingdom, we don't think about what we're going to eat, what we're going to drink first. What we think is kingdom. So for example, if you are a kingdom citizen, what are the things that trip you? God, what's in your heart? What are the things you want on the earth? And one of them is soul winning. You can see that if I do a survey here, how many people pray for souls here? Probably less than 10%. Then you are not a citizen. You are not operating as a citizen of the kingdom. Your priorities must be different. Your behavior must be different. Number 3, behavior. We can't behave like we're in the world. When you see a behavior that is healthy, you can talk about a healthy culture. The world can have an I don't care attitude towards some things. You cannot have the same attitude. I'm not saying that if you're in this kingdom, it will show. There are certain things we should see that you are from the kingdom. I'm not talking about religiosity. I'm just talking about the value systems that come out of the place. Standards. The standards of the world versus the standards of the kingdom. The servant of the world is selfishness. It has to be me. Everything I do has to be me. You know, I was privileged to speak in a sub-UNESCO meeting during the week. And somebody asked me a question. I said, what are the attitudes of the skills of the future that is needed? You know, and they thought I was going to talk about digital skills or soft skills. I said, one of the attitudes that we need, okay, it was 2050, how do we scale 2050 to the future? Guess what I said? I said, kindness. I said, kindness is going extinct on the earth. People are getting really selfish. He human beings, and we are naturally selfish. Now we are getting so selfish now. But can I tell you something? In the kingdom, it's servanthood. Servanthood. Kindness, service. Kindness, service. Kindness, service. Can God entrust you with wealth and you still be humble? Can God entrust you with influence and still be humble? Can God, some of you is just small money, 100,000. You'll be missing in church for 6 months. Small. Just 100,000. You'll be missing. Celebration. What does the world celebrate? What do you celebrate? If you celebrate what the world is celebrating, then you are trying to adjust to the culture. You try to adjust to the culture. Listen, what you celebrate determines what you worship. What you celebrate determines what you worship. And in fact, let me go for that. What you worship determines what you elevate. What you worship determines what you elevated. So what are you trying to elevate? There are things I don't celebrate. On calendar, it can be what so day. If it does not agree with the culture, I'm not going to celebrate it. E.g., you won't like this. I don't celebrate Valentine. I don't celebrate it. Say, Pastor, just calm down. Just calm down. Is it not just a day for lovers? Yes. It's a day for lovers. So it means that if I really want to celebrate love, I should celebrate love every day. You know, but because I'm a researcher, I understand the background. I understand what the guy was trying to do. I understand the whole thing he had. You know, but the concept was very wrong. It's different from the concept of the kingdom. It's different. Morality. Morality. In the kingdom, morality is a strong part. It's a strong part. Moral purity is strong. What about ethics? The ethics of the world, different from the ethics of the kingdom. How you relate now begins to talk about your culture as a person. How you relate, and the Bible teaches us these things. Simple ethics. Social, it's not the same. You are born again, you are cohabiting. Where did you find that in the Bible? Actually, is that not the person I'm going to marry? Listen, if you grew up in a Western culture, it's not a big deal. I have some business friends who have been cohabiting with people they have not married for 20 years. 20, I'm telling you. I said, are you married now? No. We like it like that. Well, so in one country, they told me that because they're the world's happiest people. You know, they told me that if you're married, that it's not so much of a contract like we think about it. I said, tell me. So she said to me that if I'm married to my husband for 20 years and I'm tired, and if I'm not happy, after 20 years, we're not fighting, but then I'm not happy again, I'll change him. Happiness, I'll change him. That's why I say if you're in the Western world, because you can be online listening to me and say, what's cohabiting? What I'm not saying I'm just saying that in our culture, in the kingdom, it's not there. It's not there. Let's tell ourselves the truth. It's not there. You're dressing. You know, we talked about dress code last week, so I won't say so much about it. Dressing. You can't tell me that it's my heart that matters. It's my heart that matters. Your cleavage matters too. Your buttocks matters too. Please. There's no kingdom uniform, but decency. The Bible talks about moderation, talks about decency, talks about demeanor. If you are in the kingdom, that means you dress royal. You can't dress like a suspect and claim to be a what? A prospect. You dress like royal. Ask yourself every day, as I'm leaving my house today, as I'm leaving my house now, what if on the road I'm invited to Aso Rock? Will I say I would go back home to change? Or I can tell you that I can appear like that. You see, when your boxers is overlapping with the real trouser you wanted to wear. That's why I said kingdom. Kingdom. I can go on and on and on. But culture is very important. Very important. Let's look at the culture of, let's talk about giving. Let's talk about giving. So when we say kingdom, you know that means there's a king and there's a domain, right? That's why it's called kingdom. King that has domain. So if you say you're a king and a priest, so if you're a king, you must have a domain. You must function in a domain. And that's what it means. Now, let's talk about why. Have you ever asked yourself, how come every Sunday when you come to church, you give offering? Why? Have you ever questioned it? Because people should be questioning things. Why? Why every Sunday? You know, it's a culture we learned on the earth. We learned it from our fathers. That when you go to church, they give you offering when you are going to. Have you ever questioned, must I give offering every Sunday? Must I tithe every month? Now, so let's look at this. Number one, I want to share some principles with you. You never appear before a king without a gift. So I'm not trying to use Bible now to now say the Bible says give unto the Lord, it shall give unto you, press down, shake it together, running over. Because sometimes when you hear those things, you know, and you say the Lord shall multiply 1,000 times, and you have given tithe of 100K, you have multiplied it by 1,000, you have not seen the realities of those things. So let me help your mind. You never appear before a king without a gift. You never. In fact, when you show up before a king, the king is looking at your hand. You can be possessing and be kneeling down. Look at Exodus 34. Exodus 34, I think verse 20. I can't remember. So while we are opening that, something happened in 1 Kings. The queen of Sheba came to see somebody called Solomon. And Solomon was the king at that time. And the Bible calls Solomon the richest man on the earth, right? So, and the influence was strong. Do you know that Solomon was richer than the queen of Sheba? Now, and the queen of Sheba showed up before Solomon. And guess what? She brought lots of giftings. And if you were there that day, you'd be wondering, why are you taking coal to the castle? There's enough coal in the castle. Why would you take more coals there? The king you are going to meet is richer. Why are you taking gifts and monies and the perfumes from Arab that she brought that day? Why? It's a protocol. Do not appear before a king empty. I said Exodus 34 and verse 20. Do not appear. So if God is your father and is the king of kings, so I know you are kings, we are kings, and he is our king, you must never appear before him empty. I show you this, Exodus 34:20. Redeem your firstborn donkey with a lamb. Redeem your firstborn. Exodus 34:20. I can't be angry again. I've matured. Exodus 34. Let's just assume they are not there. When they get born again, they will catch up. Exodus 34 and verse 20. See what it says. But the firstborn of a donkey you shall redeem with a lamb. And if you will not redeem him, then you shall break his neck. Listen, all firstborn of your sons you shall redeem. See the last part, verse B. Can you see it? He said, all the firstborn of your, and none shall appear before me empty-handed. The Lord says that. No one shows up in my presence empty-handed. The King of Kings says that. So when you say you're coming to church on a Sunday, for example, so you are coming before the King of all kings. He says, don't appear empty. At best, even if you don't have money, you have something. At least your worship. At least your worship. Number 2, the gift you give a king must be fitting. The gift you give a king must be fitting. 2 Samuel 24:24. Every time I want to give people a gift, I try to check. You see, because I ask myself, is it fitting? If it's not fitting, I will postpone it. I'll postpone it. There are things that you give people that are not fitting. Don't do it to God. He even said in Malachi that, can you offer certain things to your governor? So if the governor of this state says, come and see me. You know, something happened one day in Ghana, in Accra. So there were 2 guys that followed me. I went to the Minister of Education's office. So we had a good time with the Minister of Education. So very beautiful interaction. And after about 2 hours, so we're going. I said, Honorable Minister, I said, I brought a gift for you. So you brought a gift for me? I said, yes, sir. Then he opened, he said, wow, I love this. So I checked the 4 things I gave. He said, wow. He said, but I like the book more. You know. The 2 other guys that came with me said, oh, I didn't even think about it all. You know, just joking. I didn't even think about it all. Then when we're going, I said, Honorable Minister, can I have your direct contact? He said, sure. You gave me a gift. So brother gave me his card. The other guy said, sir, can I? He said, I don't give you. That was strange to hear. Till today, the guy is asking me for that card. I said, I can't give you. See, 2 Samuel 24:24. The king said unto Aramam, no, I have got to buy it from you for a good price. I'm not going to offer my God sacrifice. In fact, I like it in King James, because I'm not going to offer to my God what's not a sacrifice. See what King James calls it. He says that neither will I offer burnt offerings unto the Lord my God that will cost me what? Nothing. I will not give to God what will cost me nothing. So it means if you give to God, if you give to a king, it must cost you something. See, when I give human being things, I know how much it costs me. Not to not talk about God. I know the idea is that God, you feel God does not see you. You understand? So, when it's time to give an offering now, you know, when I used to be in my former church, when we want to give offering, you know, there's a way, naturally, if you have, so there was no 1,000. Let's assume you have 200, 100, 50 naira, 20 naira, 10 naira, 5 naira. You know, it's arranged accordingly. So, you know, when you like fold and put into your pocket, you know that it starts from the highest downward. Nobody puts the lowest highest. So when we want to give offering, we spend time like this. You know, and there were many reasons why we spend time like that. Because we used to have like 7 kinds of offerings we give. 7 kinds. Ore no, ore kole, ore alaini, ore mololayo mobolayo. You know, so we have like 7. We have like 7. And we used to waste time dancing because we used to come out. You know, there was one man that I used to look at. He's a chief now. He should probably be in his 60s now. He will dance and cause go slow. At the end of the day, what is give 5 naira? Wait, if even as a younger person, I say, with all this drama, no. An inappropriate gift is an insult to the king. It's an insult to the king. I will not give God what will not cost me. That's in the Bible. So I'm not saying give it shall be given unto you. Good measure of prayer. I'm not showing you kingdom concept of honor. Look at this. Number 3. The gift reveals your value of worthship. The gift reveals your value of worthship. That means you are trying to say that this is what this person means to me. Now, so it's now showing worthship. Worthship. Isaiah 29 and verse 13. Listen, the quality of offering or attitude shows worthiness we attach to the person or to the king. Worthiness. Worthiness. And listen to me, when we say quality, it does not need to be monetary. Does it have to be expensive? It's just talking about the best that you can. The best that you can. One day, you heard me say this before. My pastor was having his birthday. And honestly, the church honors me on my birthday, so it's just an example. My pastor was having his birthday. I asked myself, what can I give this man? Can I ever, sometimes when you think of a man and you think the man is more than you, you could say that, let me just pray for him. It's a lie. It's prayer that matters. What can I have to offer? You're just trying to run away from. Then, I have to think. One year, there was a year I bought, because I noticed that the way my pastor was going to, Jesus will come, all he will wear is white all his life. Is that white native? And if he's on corporate, he's white. White suit, white shirt, white trouser, white shoe. And so one day, I packed 365 white shirts. How many? Answer me. How many? Not teru material. Not correct material. That even when they told me how much each is, I said, Jesus. I said, but this man means a lot to me. He said, what is it? Because when the two was saying Ghana must go, what's this? I said, they are shirts, Daddy. For what? I said, for you. He said, I have more than I can wear for the next 4 years. Don't do it again. I'm sorry, sir, but I just want you to wear it. One day, somebody connected me to what is said to him. Do you understand? It's not, but I just had to think and say, no, how do I make him happy? One day, somebody connected me to somebody who is in charge of his aircraft. I asked them, because I can't do more than myself, what is the least thing that one can do, around this thing? The least, Do you know how much the tire of an aircraft is? What is the least? Then they explain something to me about that requires that there's an invoice that must go through him around it. Not so expensive. When I say not so expensive, at my level, it's expensive. But to him, it's not. I was in a meeting with him last week, Monday, and part of the conversation we had was talking about how they just released 9 billion into their building project, and he said it didn't show in the account. Yeah? You see, after that time, what they said for the next 20 minutes, I didn't hear again. Say 9 billion. You see, the one that now pained me, say it didn't show. First Thessalonians 29:13. We're talking about the quality of what you do. It doesn't have to be expensive. But some things will show the worthship of the person. The worthship. Every time I show up before a great person. In fact, let me tell you something. Every time I'm flying an aircraft, I always have 2 gifts in my bag. Not because I'm going to see somebody inside aircraft. Should in case. I can tell you 2 billionaire families I met because I gave them a gift inside the aircraft. For as much as these people draw near me with their mouth and with their lips, they don't honor me. But I've removed their heart far from me, and their fear towards me is taught by the precept of men. Number 4. Giving to a king attracts favor. Giving to a king attract favor. Listen to me. God is naturally attracted to men who are of a willing and a grateful heart. There's nothing everybody ever does to me that I don't say thank you to, no matter how small. One day, somebody's daughter sent me recharge card of 200 naira. I mean, so it's a child. The child is 6 years old. So that's big money. You understand that? That's big money. I'm not sure 200 naira can impress me as a human being. But it was a child that told the mother that from the savings that they should give me 200 naira recharge card. You know, I called them back, spending like 800 naira credit. It's not that I just, the thoughtfulness, a child. I say, wow. Listen, if you ever want to walk in favor, you must practice these things. God said, oh Lord, favor me. Lord, favor me. God say, like, go and give. Honor people. Your boss in the office, did you ever buy? He said they have so much now. You see the salary they are giving. When did you give your boss a present? When? He has too much. What does he need from me? And one day they want to make, even when decisions are by principle. Decisions are by principles. But it can be affected by emotions. Because people don't forget the goodness. Say thank you for everything. For everything. Everything. Thank you for everything. Thank you for everything. At least once in a year, once in a year, I know that I have an organized letter that I write round. Thank you, sir. And the people I'm writing letter to, they didn't give me money. What they gave me is their time. What they gave me is attention. Thank you, sir. And I value those things so much. I value them. Matthew 10:40 to Matthew 10:41. See, gift open doors, more doors for you. In fact, go to Proverbs 18:16. I think we should just take that one. Proverbs 18 verse 16. In Matthew 10:41, what it is saying is that he that receives a prophet, he that receives a prophet, he that receives a prophet, he that receives a prophet. That means you care without expecting repayment. You are receiving. You are not saying the prophet is giving me. He that receives. The word there is receive. So you care without expectation. You care without repayment. One day, I'm not sharing this example. The person is a dear son, and he has changed. So if I'm his father, I have his permission to share this. One day, he said, I would like to meet so person. And he told me, he said he had his vision with God. I said, okay. You have been a good person. So one day, I said, okay, I'm seeing so person. I said, come with me and write. He was happy. He came. So I was outside waiting to receive the person. It was probably last year or 2 years ago. So he was with me. I said, what did you bring for this person? He said, I brought a seed, sir. I was happy. I'm like, wow, you have been well taught. How much? I said, 10K. I said, for who? Listen. I know what you earn as a person. So, see, if you were earning 50K and you give a 10K seed offering, that's a lot of money. I know what you are earning. I know. So I 10,000 for who? Even for me. It's like an insult at your level. There are some of you that give offerings and tithe below your level. You have been giving 200 naira since 1985. You don't miss it. And you'll be dancing plenty, dancing. Some of you, That 500, God, you can't escape it. All your life, that's 500. And I smile. I said, I have failed you. That's what I responded. He said, why, sir? I said, maybe I didn't teach you well. That's what I said to him. I said, I have failed you. Maybe I didn't teach you well. So, till the time I will teach you well, don't go near that man. So as he comes, just be looking. He shed tears. But I taught him something he'll never forget. 6 months after I called him, I said, do you still want to meet this man? He said, yes. I said, so he came. I didn't even ask him a question. The next time, just say, sir, this is what my heart wants to give the man. I said, now you are talking. See, it's not a bad. I'm just talking about the honor behind it. I'm not talking about how you want to use money to spoil people. It's just honor. Is it befitting this person? Is it befitting? It attracts favor. Proverbs 18:16. A man's gift will make room for him. So when you see people having rooms, they said he bringeth him before great men. He's not talking about the talent of singing, that when you can sing, bring you before great men. Not just that. A man's gift. A man's gift. Some of you go to see your parent. There was somebody in this country who is now a very powerful person. That the mother called me one day, I was complaining to me. I said, and the mother was hawking bread. And you were in the newspapers. I said, oh boy. If they kidnap your mother now and they ask for 20 million, would you look for it? Except you're a wicked man. So why are you asking that question? I said, your mother said, he didn't talk to me for 1 year. At least, if you don't want her to hawk, open a shop where she'll be selling the bread. I know that she's not learned, but she can be walking up and down, and people think you are a very powerful person. Is it befitting? And the last part, giving to a king acknowledges his ownership of everything. Do you see that? It acknowledges, so you are just acknowledging that he owns everything. See, you don't give God money, or his church that you give money. I hope you know. It's human being, his church. It's when we say give unto the Lord, give unto, yes. But who is receiving on behalf of the Lord? I know that's the one that is making you angry. Because you know the Lord is not receiving any offering. You know the Lord is not, but it is, he has representatives, amen. If it's easy, you to come and be a representative. Come and be a representative. It acknowledges his ownership, acknowledges his stewardship. That Lord, you own these things. You own these things. You own these things. Thank you, Lord. It is out of the abundance of what you have given me. I'm just showing ownership. You gave me this, that's why I'm returning this back to you. Glory to God. And the last part, giving to a king is thanksgiving. But don't forget that every time you give to the body of Christ, you give to Christ directly. When you give to a king, then you can make demand of what he possesses. One day, somebody came into the palace of a king, and he was making a request for something. And that king whispered to me, he said, this man is a good man. Watch what I will do. Then he called the chiefs and said that there's nothing this man will request that I will not give him. They said, why? He said, have you noticed that this man every month he sends a basket of fruit? What is fruit to a king? Nothing. He said, I will not. That's how the man got the favor. So I'm trying to explain the kingdom perspective to honor and giving. So that, because I know that the one you have been hearing is when you give, God will open the windows of heaven. I'm not even talking about windows of heaven. I'm not talking about giving shall be given unto you. I'm not talking about multiplication, division. I'm just talking about a psychology. That you see a king, this is how to honor a king. Glory to God. Has this helped you? So that when you are doing something, you know why you are doing it. Not because they said, no. So everything about the kingdom revolves around attitudes. Attitudes. I trust God that He would multiply these things I'm saying in the name of Jesus. Next week, I will talk about the DNA of a church family. What does it mean to be part of a church? What is the function of a church? What is your function inside a church? So that we can understand, like I say, it's a discipleship system, we can understand exactly how we can explain and understand a few things about what we do in the kingdom. Let's stand to our feet for a moment. It's all about you, Jesus. It's all about you. It's all about you. It's all about you, Jesus. It's all about you. Can you just worship Him now? It's all about you. With the things that I've said, give Him quality worship. Give Him quality worship. Acknowledge His worship. Acknowledge that He is King. It's all about. It's all about. It's all about. Sometimes it's not that you are not giving Him worship. Sometimes it's the quality of worship. Sometimes it's when you are tired. That's when you just say a few things and you go to sleep. Do you even pray with your quality time? Do you even worship with your quality time? It's all